Hello and welcome to this video review of Team 17's Before We Leave, which was developed by Balancing Monkey Games and has been ported here to Nintendo Switch. This real-time strategy title is something a bit different both for me and for this channel, but I do feel it's important to expand your horizons by trying something you wouldn't normally go for, so let's see how we get on. Ironically, broadening horizons is quite a big part of this game, as you explore an island on a planet hanging in space, starting from square one, or should I say hexagon one, and building a thriving community, digging up relics from a past technologically advanced civilization and restoring it before sailing off to chart more of the planet before you finally get to build a spaceship which takes you to another planet where you can start all over again. As an allegory for the Petri dish theory, it's rather sobering really, as you turn a naturally balanced world into a smoking cesspit of industry, full of starving people, known here as peeps, who are overworked and are having to deal with hot climates without having the infrastructure in place to actually deal with that kind of temperature. A bit close to the bone perhaps, but that isn't really what this game is going for. Cozy is actually the word that's thrown around a lot in the game's promotional material, and unlike most other RTS titles, this game isn't about combat. Aside from this more laid-back approach, a few other things also stand out in its favour. Firstly, the graphical style is rather lovely, with everything drawn in polygonal 3D without much noticeable slowdown, which is pretty impressive for the Switch, especially considering the platform hasn't traditionally shone when dealing with Unity titles, which is the engine that this is built on. I like the rounded play area and being able to zoom in and out at will, which works really well. The graphics are a little basic when you get zoomed in right up close, but the sound design is at least strong here, adding in the noises of day-to-day life at ground level, then returning to some nice, if a little repetitive music when you pull the camera further out. And it really is nice just being left to your own devices to do everything at your own pace. You can speed up the action to 4 times real time, or slow it right down to a quarter of that speed, or just pause it entirely, making your decisions and then watching it all play out, which again is very relaxing. What's also in its favour is just how deep everything goes in what at first appears to be a rather simplistic game. You can prioritise development of certain buildings, hold back a certain amount of an island's stock in reserve while exporting resources to another island, and all of the little people, called peeps, have their own names and a short bio, though I must admit I don't know why this one is carrying around a dead pigeon. However, while it's really lovely to have this kind of detail, it doesn't really get used in the main gameplay, which is a pity. The peeps are basically just wooden pegs that move around and fill progress bars, and this is where things start to get a little less favourable. The game feels very samey. Right from the first time you gather wood to build a library, to sourcing parts to repair the spaceship, it all feels very similar. Clear the ground, house peeps, build a school to raise more of them, feed them, water them, mine for resources, unlock something in the skill tree, and then progress enough to be able to go and start it all over again. Considering the game basically plays at normal pace in the tutorial, and then you have to do it all over again in the main game, I suppose the main question that comes to mind is why? Why would you really want to play this for hours and hours? It isn't really lovable enough to really care about the peeps, whether that's individually or collectively. Sometimes you do come to an impasse and it takes a while to work out what you have to do. So the resource management is rewarding on some levels as you solve that problem and see your community make vast strides forward in progress all of a sudden, but there is also an element of feeling like perhaps you shouldn't be making all this progress. Can you really say that this planet is better off after you've filled every hexagon with some man-made mess? I'm not so sure. Finally, in terms of this Switch port, it hasn't really taken the Switch's unique features, in particular the touchscreen, into consideration. That's a massive wasted opportunity, especially considering everything has to be accessed through menus which are opened with a separate button press, making even something simple like building a new well require several different button presses going into a menu and a submenu. I did also experience a few crash bugs which were annoying, though the game does at least autosave besides your regular slotted files, so you shouldn't ever lose too much progress if this happens to you too. So to the score. It is a nice game, but not particularly exciting or interesting, with a lot of very predictable work for precious little reward. It is cute, but it could have been far cuter, and is so laid back as to be almost incidental entertainment. I do feel that even the genre's earliest games like Megalomania, which you can play on Evercade right now via the Codemasters collection, have got more reason to keep playing, perhaps due to the integrated PvE elements that give everything some urgency. There is very little urgency here. But if you don't like urgency and just want to tinker around, building up to your own Button Moon moment, then this is perfectly serviceable. So I give Before We Leave a decent and respectable 3 out of 5 stars, though I don't think I'll be playing it again personally. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please do hit like and subscribe, and take a look around my channel for more gaming videos, music, and more. Take care until next time. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.